Scary message. It was a normal Tuesday morning. The sun was shining and birds were singing. People all over the world were doing their usual things. Some were going to work, others were at school, and many were still sleeping. In New York, Jack was walking to his office. He was thinking about his big meeting later that day. In Tokyo, Yuki was eating breakfast with her family. They were laughing at a funny TV show. In a small village in Africa, Adisa was helping his father in their farm. Everything seemed normal and peaceful. Suddenly, at exactly 10 o'clock a.m., something very strange happened. All over the world, at the same time, every TV, radio, phone, and computer started to make a loud beeping noise. The sound was so loud that people had to cover their ears. Jack stopped walking and looked at his phone. Yuki and her family stared at their TV in shock. Adisa and his father looked at each other, confused. They could hear the beeping coming from their old radio in the house. Then, the beeping stopped. For a moment, there was silence. People looked around, not sure what was happening. And then, a voice spoke. It was a strange voice, not like any human voice. It sounded cold and emotionless. The voice said, "People of Earth, we have watched you for a long time. We have seen your wars, your hate, and your greed. We have decided that you are a danger, not just to yourselves, but to the whole galaxy. We will burn your worlds. This is your only warning." The message repeated 3 times. Then all screens went black and all devices turned off. For a few seconds, no one moved. No one spoke. It was like the whole world was holding its breath. And then chaos began. In New York, Jack saw people running in the streets. Some were crying, some were shouting. Cars stopped in the middle of the road. Jack forgot about his meeting. He started running home to his family. In Tokyo, Yuki's little brother started crying. Her parents looked pale and scared. Yuki felt like her heart was beating too fast. She hugged her brother and tried to calm him down. In the African village, people came out of their houses. They gathered in the center, talking fast and looking scared. Adisa held his father's hand tightly. He had never seen his strong father look so worried before. All over the world, the same things were happening. Some people didn't believe the message. They thought it was a joke or a mistake, but most people were very scared. World leaders quickly called emergency meetings. In Washington, D.C., the president gathered all the important people in a big room. They all looked serious and afraid. The president spoke first. "We need to find out if this is real," he said, "and if it is, we need to prepare." In other countries, leaders were saying the same things. They told their armies to get ready. They asked scientists to try and contact the aliens. They told people to stay calm, but it was hard to stay calm after hearing such a scary message. TV channels started showing the news. Reporters looked worried as they talked about the alien message. Some people who knew about space and aliens came on TV to talk, but no one really knew what was going on. As the day went on, more strange things started to happen. People said they saw weird lights in the sky. Some said their compasses and GPS devices weren't working right. It seemed like the aliens were already doing something to Earth. By nighttime, cities looked very different. Many streets were empty because people were scared to go out, but some places were very crowded. Churches, temples, and mosques were full of people praying. Stores were full of people buying food and water, preparing for the worst. Jack finally got home and hugged his wife and kids. They sat together, watching the news and feeling afraid. Yuki and her family called all their relatives to make sure everyone was okay. In the African village, people gathered around a big fire, talking about old stories of the sky gods. As people went to sleep that night, if they could sleep, everyone had the same questions. Were the aliens really coming? Would they really burn the Earth? And what could humans do to stop them? The world had changed in just one day. The scary message from the aliens had changed everything. No one knew what would happen next, but everyone knew that tomorrow would be the start of a new and dangerous time for Earth. Getting ready. The day after the scary alien message, the whole world was different. People were scared, but they were also trying to get ready. In Washington, D.C., the president called a big meeting. He invited the smartest scientists and the top army people. They all sat in a big room, looking worried. "We need to understand what the aliens meant," the president said. "They said they would burn our worlds. What does that mean?" A scientist named Dr. Lee stood up. She had messy hair and looked like she hadn't slept. "We think they might mean all the planets humans live on," she said. "We have people on the moon base and the Mars colony. Maybe the aliens will attack those places too." Everyone in the room looked even more worried. Protecting Earth was hard enough. How could they protect the moon and Mars too? The Army general, a tall man named General Johnson, spoke next. "We need better weapons," he said. "Our best guns and missiles might not work against alien ships. We need to make new ones, fast." The president nodded. "Do it," he said. "Use all the money you need. We must be ready." All over the world, other countries were doing the same things. In Russia, in China, in India, leaders were telling their scientists and soldiers to get ready. But it wasn't just the governments getting ready. Regular people were preparing too. In a small town in Texas, a man named Bill was digging a big hole in his backyard. His neighbors came to look. "What are you doing, Bill?" they asked. "I'm building a bunker," Bill said. "A safe place to hide when the aliens come. You all should build one too." Soon, the whole town was digging. People were helping each other build safe places underground. In Japan, a group of computer experts were working day and night. They were trying to make better systems to talk to the aliens. "Maybe if we can talk to them, we can stop the attack," one of them said. But no matter what they did, they couldn't contact the alien ships. In Africa, people were leaving the cities. They thought they might be safer in small villages or in the wild places. Long lines of cars and people on foot moved out of the big cities. Some people didn't believe the aliens were real. They said it was all a trick. In New York, a group of people stood in the street with signs. The signs said things like, "No aliens," and "It's all fake." But most people believed, and they were scared. All over the world, stores were running out of food. People were buying everything they could: water, canned food, batteries. The shelves were empty. In schools, teachers tried to explain what was happening to the children. It was hard. How do you tell kids that aliens might attack? In one school in London, a teacher named Ms. Brown had an idea. She asked her students to write letters to the aliens. "Tell them why they shouldn't attack us," she said. "Tell them about the good things humans do." The kids wrote beautiful letters. They wrote about music and art. They wrote about how humans help each other. They wrote about their dreams for the future. Ms. Brown felt tears in her eyes as she read the letters. As all this was happening, a group of teenagers made an amazing discovery. They lived in a small town in Brazil. Their names were Carlos, Maria, and João. The three friends were walking in the forest near their town. Suddenly, João tripped over something. It was hidden under leaves and dirt. "Hey, look at this," João said. He brushed off the dirt. It was a strange object. It was made of a metal they had never seen before. It was shaped like an egg, but it was as big as a car. "It looks alien," Maria said. They all looked at each other with big eyes. "We can't tell anyone," Carlos said. "If it's alien, it might be dangerous, but it might also help us fight them. Let's hide it and study it ourselves." The others agreed. They covered the object with leaves again. Then they made a plan to come back at night with tools. These three teenagers didn't know it yet, but they had just found something that would change everything. As the day turned to night, the world kept getting ready. Scientists worked in their labs. Soldiers practiced with their guns. Regular people stored food and made safe places. Everyone was waiting. Waiting and watching the sky. Waiting for the aliens to come. No one knew when the attack would start. No one knew if humans had a chance to win. But everyone knew one thing. They had to try. They had to fight for their world, no matter what. The next few days would show what humans could do when they worked together. It would show how brave and smart they could be. The aliens had no idea what they were in for. Aliens are here. It was a quiet night. Most people were asleep, but some were still awake, watching the sky. They were the first to see it. At 3:27 a.m., big lights appeared in the sky. They weren't stars. They weren't planes. They were moving too fast and were too bright. In New York, a night guard saw the lights first. He called the police. "You won't believe this," he said, his voice shaking. In Moscow, a group of friends having a late-night party saw the lights from their balcony. They stopped talking and just stared. In Tokyo, a taxi driver almost crashed his car when he saw the lights. He pulled over and got out to look. Within minutes, the whole world knew. The aliens were here. The alien ships were huge. Each one was as big as a city. They were shaped like giant triangles. They glowed with a strange blue light. 5 ships appeared, one over North America, one over South America, one over Europe and Africa, one over Asia, and one over Australia. World leaders quickly went to their safe rooms. They started to talk to each other on secure lines. "We need to try to talk to them," the President of the United States said, "before they attack." The others agreed. They decided to send a message to the alien ships. Scientists had prepared for this. They sent the message in many languages and in simple math code. The message said, "We come in peace. We want to talk. Please do not attack." They sent the message again and again. But the alien ships didn't answer. Hours passed. The ships just stayed there, high in the sky. Not moving. Not doing anything. Just watching. People all over the world were scared. Many tried to leave big cities. Roads were full of cars. Airports were crazy busy. But some people were excited. They thought the aliens might be friendly. In many places, people had parties in the streets. They held up signs saying, "Welcome aliens," and "We come in peace." As the sun came up, everyone could see the ships clearly. They were beautiful in a scary way. Their blue glow seemed to pulse, like they were alive. Then, at exactly noon, all the alien ships moved. They got lower in the sky. People watched, holding their breath. Suddenly, a voice came from the ships. It was the same cold voice from before. It said, "Your time is up. You did not change. Now you will burn." Before anyone could react, the ships shot out beams of red light. The beams hit small towns first. One in Texas, one in Brazil, one in Poland, one in China, one in Australia. The towns didn't explode. They didn't burn. They just disappeared. Where the towns had been, there was nothing. Just flat, empty ground. People watching on TV screamed. World leaders yelled orders to their armies. "Attack now," they said. Fighter jets took off. Missiles were launched. All the best weapons Earth had were fired at the alien ships. But nothing worked. The jets exploded before they got close. The missiles turned to dust. The alien ships weren't hurt at all. More red beams shot out. More towns disappeared. People ran in panic. In their secret place, Carlos, Maria, and Joel were working on the alien object they had found. They had figured out how to open it. Inside, they found strange symbols and lights. "I think it's a weapon," Carlos said. "Maybe we can use it against them." But they didn't know how it worked. They needed help. Maria had an idea. "My aunt is a scientist," she said. "Maybe she can help us. We need to get this to her lab." They agreed. But getting to the lab would be dangerous. The aliens were attacking everywhere. As they packed up the alien object, they saw a red beam hit a town nearby. The ground shook. They knew they had to hurry. All over the world, people were trying to fight back. But it seemed hopeless. The aliens were too strong. In New York, Jack hugged his family in their basement. In Tokyo, Yuki and her parents watched the sky from their apartment window. In the African village, Adisa and his father joined others in a cave. Everyone was thinking the same thing. Is this the end of the world? But humans are tough. Even as towns disappeared and weapons failed, people didn't give up. Scientists worked on new ideas. Soldiers kept fighting. Regular people helped each other. And in a small town in Brazil, 3 brave teenagers were starting a journey that might save the world. As night fell again, the alien ships kept attacking. The sky was full of red beams and blue glows. It was beautiful and terrible. The first day of the alien attack was ending, but the fight was just beginning. Humans were scared, but they were also angry now. They were ready to fight for their world. No one knew what would happen next, but everyone knew one thing. This was the biggest fight in human history, and they weren't going to give up easily. Earth is losing. 3 days had passed since the aliens first attacked. The world was changing fast. Big cities that were once full of life now stood empty and quiet. In New York, the tall buildings were dark. No lights shone from the windows. The streets that were usually full of cars and people were now empty. Only the sound of the wind could be heard. Jack and his family had left their home. They were now living underground in an old subway station. Many other people were there too. They slept on the floor and shared what little food they had. "When can we go home, Dad?" Jack's little daughter asked. Jack didn't know what to say. He just hugged her tight. In Tokyo, things were just as bad. Yuki and her family had tried to stay in their apartment, but then they saw a red beam hit a building nearby. After that, they decided to leave. Now they were in a big group of people, walking away from the city. They didn't know where they were going. They just knew they had to get away. "Look!" someone in the group shouted. They all looked up. An alien ship was flying low over the city. It was huge and scary. As they watched, it shot out a red beam. A whole neighborhood disappeared in a flash. Yuki felt tears in her eyes. That was where her school had been. All over the world, it was the same story. The aliens were attacking, and humans were losing. In Africa, Adisa and his village had moved deep into the jungle. They hoped the thick trees would hide them from the aliens. But even here, they weren't safe. Strange animals were coming out of the jungle. Animals no one had ever seen before. It seemed the aliens were changing the whole planet. World leaders were trying to fight back, but nothing was working. In a secret room deep underground, the President of the United States looked tired and sad. He was talking to other world leaders on big screens. "Our best weapons don't work," he said. "The aliens are too strong. We must keep trying," said the leader of China. "We cannot give up." But it was hard not to give up. Every hour, more cities were destroyed. More people disappeared. Scientists were working day and night to find a way to stop the aliens, but they weren't having much luck. Dr. Lee, the scientist who had spoken to the president before, was in her lab. She hadn't slept in days. She was looking at pictures of the alien ships. "There must be a way," she said to herself. "There must be something we can do." Suddenly, her phone rang. It was a number she didn't know. "Hello," she said. "Dr. Lee," said a young voice. "My name is Maria. You don't know me, but I have something important, something that might help us fight the aliens." Dr. Lee sat up straight. "What is it?" she asked. It's an alien thing," Maria said. "We found it in the forest. We think it might be a weapon." Dr. Lee's heart started beating fast. Could this be the break they needed? "Where are you?" she asked. "I'm sending someone to get you right now." As this was happening, a brave reporter named Sarah was doing something very dangerous. She had snuck onto an alien ship. Sarah had always dreamed of being the first human to meet aliens, but not like this. Not when the aliens were trying to destroy Earth. She moved quietly through the strange corridors of the ship. Everything was made of a material she had never seen before. It glowed softly and seemed almost alive. Suddenly, she heard a noise. She quickly hid behind a weird curved wall. Two aliens walked by. They were tall and thin. Their skin was pale blue and seemed to shimmer. They had 4 arms and 3 eyes. Sarah held her breath. The aliens were talking, but she couldn't understand their language. It sounded like music and clicks mixed together. When the aliens were gone, Sarah took out her small camera. She started filming everything she saw. "I don't know if anyone will ever see this," she whispered to the camera. "But if you do, know that I'm trying to find a way to stop them, to save Earth." She moved deeper into the ship. She was scared, but she kept going. She knew this might be humanity's only chance to learn about the aliens. Back on Earth, Carlos, Maria, and Joao were in a military helicopter. They were holding the alien object they had found. They were flying to Dr. Lee's secret lab. "Do you think this will really help?" Joao asked. "It has to," Carlos said. "We have to try." As they flew, they saw the destruction below. Whole cities were gone. The land looked strange and alien. But they also saw something else. They saw people helping each other. They saw small groups fighting back against the aliens in any way they could. Humans were losing, but they weren't giving up. The sun was setting as the helicopter landed at the secret lab. Dr. Lee was waiting for them. "Show me what you found," she said. The teenagers carefully took out the alien object. Dr. Lee's eyes went wide. This could change everything," she said. As night fell, a small spark of hope began to grow. Maybe, just maybe, humans had found a way to fight back. The world was in ruins. The aliens were winning. But the story wasn't over yet. Not as long as humans kept fighting. Humans fight back. The world had changed. Cities were broken. Many people were gone. But humans weren't giving up. They were getting ready to fight back. In Dr. Lee's secret lab, something big was happening. The alien object that Carlos, Maria, and Joao had found was giving them new hope. Dr. Lee looked at the object with wide eyes. "This is amazing," she said. "It's like a key to understanding alien technology." The 3 teenagers watched as Dr. Lee and her team worked day and night. They used big computers and strange machines to study the alien object. After 3 days of hard work, Dr. Lee called everyone together. Her face was tired but excited. "We've done it," she said. "We know how to use this against the aliens." She showed them a big screen. On it was a picture of the alien ships. "See this?" She pointed to a spot on the ship. "It's like their weak point. If we hit it with the right kind of energy, we can stop their weapons." Everyone cheered. For the first time in days, they felt hope. But there was a problem. "We need to get close to use this," Dr. Lee said. "Really close. Like on the ship close." The room went quiet. Getting on an alien ship seemed impossible. Then Maria spoke up. "What about that reporter? The one who snuck onto a ship?" Dr. Lee's eyes lit up. "Yes, Sarah. If she's still alive, she might be able to help us." They quickly called the president. He listened to their plan and nodded. "It's risky," he said, "but it's the best chance we have." Soon, a special team was put together. It included soldiers, scientists, and the 3 teenagers who found the alien object. They called themselves the Last Hope. While this was happening, Sarah was still on the alien ship. She had been hiding and moving for days. She was tired and hungry, but she kept going. She had learned a lot about the aliens. They called themselves the Zarkon. They traveled from planet to planet, taking what they wanted. Sarah had also found out something important. The Zarkon weren't as united as they seemed. Some of them didn't agree with attacking Earth. As she moved through the ship, she overheard 2 aliens talking. She couldn't understand all of it, but she heard words like wrong and stop. Suddenly, her small radio made a noise. A message was coming through. "Sarah, are you there? This is Earth Command. We have a plan to stop the aliens, but we need your help." Sarah's heart beat fast. She quickly found a safe place to hide and answered. "I'm here," she whispered. "What do you need me to do?" Back on Earth, the Last Hope team was getting ready. They had built a special device using the alien object. It looked like a big glowing ball. "This will disrupt their weapons," Dr. Lee explained. "But we need to plant it in the main control room of the alien ship." Carlos looked at the device. "So we're going up there?" he asked, pointing at the sky. Dr. Lee nodded. "It's dangerous. But you three know this technology better than anyone. We need you." The teenagers looked at each other. They were scared, but they also felt proud. They were going to help save the world. As night fell, the team got into a special ship. It was designed to look like the alien smaller ships. They hoped this would let them get close without being noticed. The ship took off. As they flew higher, they could see the destruction below. But they could also see something else. All over the world, people were fighting back in their own ways. In New York, Jack and other people from the subway had formed a group. They were rescuing people trapped in fallen buildings. In Tokyo, Yuki and her family were part of a team that was growing food in hidden gardens. They were feeding people who had lost everything. In Africa, Adisa and his village were using their knowledge of the land to hide other villages from the aliens. They moved silently through the jungle, helping others survive. Everywhere, humans were working together. They were brave and smart, and didn't give up. As the ship got closer to the big alien ship, everyone held their breath. Would their plan work? Could they really sneak on board? Suddenly, a voice came over their radio. It was Sarah. "I'm opening a small door for you," she said. "Hurry." The ship quickly flew to where Sarah said. They saw a small opening in the big alien ship. Their pilot, a brave woman named Lisa, flew the ship inside. They had made it. They were on the alien ship. But this was just the beginning. Now they had to find the main control room and plant their device. Sarah met them as they got out of their ship. She looked tired but happy to see other humans. "Follow me," she said. "I know the way." As they moved through the alien ship, they saw amazing and scary things. The walls seemed alive. Strange lights pulsed everywhere. Suddenly, they heard alien voices. The team quickly hid. A group of Zarkon walked by, talking in their strange language. When the aliens were gone, the team kept moving. They were getting close to the main control room. "Wait," Sarah said. She pointed to two aliens standing near a big door. "That's it. That's the control room. But how do we get past them?" Everyone looked worried. They had come so far. They couldn't fail now. Then Joao had an idea. He whispered to the others. They nodded. Joao and Maria stepped out where the aliens could see them. The aliens were surprised. They had never seen human children before. While the aliens were distracted, Carlos and a soldier snuck behind them. They used a special spray that Dr. Lee had made. The aliens fell asleep quickly. The way was clear. They entered the main control room. It was huge and full of strange machines. In the center was a big glowing ball. It looked like a small sun. "That's their main power source," Sarah said. "If we put our device there, it will affect all their ships." Carlos took out their glowing ball device. He walked to the alien power source. His hands were shaking, but his eyes were brave. He placed the device next to the alien power source. It started to glow brighter. Suddenly, alarms started ringing. The aliens knew they were there. "We need to go now," shouted the team leader. As they ran back to their ship, they could hear angry alien voices behind them. But they also heard something else. Some of the alien voices sounded happy. They jumped into their ship. Lisa started the engines. "Hold on," she shouted. As they flew out of the alien ship, they saw something amazing. The big alien ships were losing power. Their lights were going out. All around the world, people looked up. The alien ships were falling. The Last Hope team had done it. They had given Earth a fighting chance. As they flew back to Earth, they knew the war wasn't over. But for the first time, it felt like humans might win. The aliens had made a big mistake. They thought humans would be easy to beat, but they didn't know how brave, smart, and determined humans could be when they worked together. The fight for Earth was just beginning, but now humans were ready. The big fight. The alien ships were falling from the sky. People all over the world watched with hope and fear. The Last Hope team had done it. They had given Earth a chance. But the fight wasn't over. Not even close. As the big ships crashed, smaller alien ships flew out. Thousands of them. The Zarkon weren't giving up either. In New York, Jack looked up from the ruins of a building. He had been helping rescue people. Now he saw the small alien ships coming. "Everyone, take cover," he shouted. People ran to hide in the subway tunnels. In Tokyo, Yuki and her family were in their hidden garden when they heard the noise. The sky was full of alien ships. "We need to warn the others," Yuki's father said. They quickly sent messages to other hidden groups. In Africa, Adisa and his village saw the ships coming over the jungle. "Get ready," Adisa's father told everyone. They had made weapons from things in the jungle. Now they would use them. All over the world, humans got ready to fight. They had been scared before, but now they were angry. The aliens had tried to destroy their world. It was time to fight back. The Last Hope team's ship landed at a secret base. As soon as they got out, they were met by the president and other leaders. "You've given us a chance," the president said. "Now we need to use it." Dr. Lee stepped forward. "The device we planted will keep their big ships down," she said. "But these smaller ships are still a problem." Carlos, Maria, and Joel looked at each other. They had an idea. "What if we could talk to them?" Maria asked. Everyone looked at her in surprise. The reporter, Sarah, said some aliens didn't want to attack Earth. Joel explained, "Maybe we can get them on our side." The adults looked unsure, but the president nodded. "At this point, we need to try everything," he said. Quickly, they made a plan. They would use the alien technology they had learned about to send a message to all the Zarkon ships. As they worked on this, the fight began all over Earth. In New York, the aliens landed and started to search the ruins. They were looking for humans, but humans were ready. Jack and his group had set traps. When the aliens walked into a building, the floor fell away. When they tried to use their weapons, they found they didn't work well on Earth. In Tokyo, Yuki's group used their knowledge of the city to confuse the aliens. They led them into dead ends and tight spaces where the alien size worked against them. In Africa, Adisa and his people used the jungle itself as a weapon. They made the aliens chase them into quicksand or into the paths of angry animals. All over the world, humans fought with everything they had. They used their brains, their courage, and their knowledge of their own world. The aliens were strong, but they didn't know Earth like humans did. Every street, every building, every bit of nature became a weapon in human hands. At the secret base, the Last Hope team was ready. They had made a special message. It would go to all alien ships. "Are you sure about this?" Dr. Lee asked the teenagers. Carlos nodded. "We have to try," he said. They turned on their device. A face appeared on the screen. It was Sarah. She was still on the main alien ship. "I'm ready," she said. "I'll translate your message." Maria stepped forward. She took a deep breath and began to speak. "Zarkon," she said. Sarah repeated her words in the alien language. "We know some of you don't want this fight. We don't want it either. Our worlds are different, but we can learn from each other. Help us stop this war." For a moment, nothing happened. Then, suddenly, some of the alien ships started to act strange. They stopped attacking. Some even started to fight other alien ships. "It's working," Joel shouted. "Some of them are on our side." The president quickly gave new orders. "Tell our forces to work with the friendly aliens," he said. "Together, we can beat the ones who still want to fight." The big fight became even bigger. Now it wasn't just humans against aliens. It was humans and some aliens against other aliens. In New York, Jack was surprised to see an alien ship land near him. But the alien that came out held up its hands in peace. "Help," it said in a strange voice. "Fight bad ones." Jack nodded. He handed the alien a human weapon. Together, they ran to fight. In Tokyo, Yuki watched as friendly alien ships chased away the bad ones. She couldn't believe her eyes. In Africa, Adisa and his people found themselves fighting side by side with aliens. The aliens were amazed at how well humans knew the jungle. All over Earth, the battle raged. It was chaos. Alien ships fell from the sky. Buildings crumbled. But slowly, very slowly, the tide began to turn. The aliens who still wanted to fight were losing. They hadn't expected humans to be so tough. They really hadn't expected other Zarkon to turn against them. At the secret base, the Last Hope team watched the reports coming in. Humans were winning. But the cost was high. Many people had died. Many places were destroyed. Suddenly, a new message came in. It was from the leader of the friendly aliens. "Main ship," it said in broken human language. "Must stop. Has big weapon. Can destroy all." The room went quiet. They thought they had won, but there was one more fight left. The biggest one of all. The president looked at the Last Hope team. "You've done the impossible before," he said. "Can you do it again? Can you stop that main ship?" Carlos, Maria, and Joel looked at each other. They were tired. They were scared, but they nodded. "We'll do it," Carlos said, "for Earth." As they got ready for their most dangerous mission yet, reports kept coming in. The big fight was turning into a big victory. Humans were proving that they would not be easily defeated. But the hardest part was still to come. Could they stop the alien leader before he used his terrible weapon? The fate of Earth hung in the balance. The Last Hope team boarded their ship. As they took off, they saw the sun rising. A new day was starting. They hoped it wouldn't be Earth's last. Humans win. The Last Hope team's ship flew towards the huge alien mothership. Carlos, Maria, and Joel looked out the window. Earth looked small and blue below them. "We have to do this," Carlos said, "for everyone down there." Their pilot, Lisa, nodded. "We're almost there. Get ready." As they got closer, they saw how big the mothership really was. It was like a floating city in space. Suddenly, a voice came over their radio. It was Sarah, the reporter still inside the alien ship. "I've unlocked a small door for you," she said. "Hurry." Lisa flew the ship towards the spot Sarah had told them about. They saw a small opening appear in the side of the big ship. "Here we go," Lisa said. She flew their ship inside. They landed in a big room full of strange alien machines. As they got out, Sarah ran up to them. "The alien leader is in the control room," she said, "but it's heavily guarded." Joel looked at the alien technology around them. "I have an idea," he said. Meanwhile, on Earth, the battle was still going on, but things were changing. In New York, Jack and his new alien friend were fighting side by side. They had just beaten a group of bad aliens when Jack saw something amazing. The alien ships in the sky were starting to leave. Some were flying away into space, others were landing, and friendly aliens were getting out. In Tokyo, Yuki and her family came out of their hiding place. They saw aliens and humans working together to clean up the mess from the fighting. An alien came up to Yuki's father and spoke in a strange voice. "We sorry," it said. "We help fix." In Africa, Adisa and his village were celebrating. They had won their battle. Now they were teaching their new alien friends about life in the jungle. All over the world, the fighting was stopping. Humans had won. But the biggest fight was still happening up in space. On the alien mothership, the Last Hope team was sneaking towards the control room. Joao had used his knowledge of alien tech to make their human weapons work better. They turned a corner and saw the control room door. It was guarded by 4 big aliens. "Ready?" Carlos whispered. The others nodded. They jumped out and fired their weapons. Bright light flashed, and the guards fell down. "They're just sleeping," Maria said. "Come on." They ran into the control room. It was huge, with screens showing views of Earth and space. In the middle of the room was the alien leader. He was taller than the other aliens, with a crown-like thing on his head. "Stop!" Carlos shouted. "It's over." The alien leader turned. He looked surprised to see humans in his ship. "You're too late," he said in a scratchy voice. "I'm about to fire the big weapon. Earth will be gone in minutes." He reached for a big red button. "Wait," Maria shouted. "Look at your screens. Look at Earth." The alien leader paused. He looked at the screens showing Earth. He saw aliens and humans working together. He saw the fighting stopping. He saw his own ships leaving or surrendering. What is this?" he asked. "This is what happens when you underestimate humans," Joe said. "We don't give up, and we can make friends with anyone, even aliens who came to fight us." The alien leader's hands dropped to his sides. I don't understand," he said. Sarah stepped forward. "Your own people turned against you," she said. "They saw that humans are worth knowing, not destroying." For a long moment, the alien leader was quiet. Then he sighed. "I was wrong," he said. "I thought your world was like others we've seen. Weak, easy to take, but you're different." He pressed some buttons, and all the screens went dark. "The weapon is off," he said. "The attack is over. We will leave your world in peace." The Last Hope team couldn't believe it. They had done it. They had saved Earth. As word spread, celebrations broke out all over the world. In New York, Jack and his friends danced in the streets. Humans and friendly aliens laughed and hugged each other. In Tokyo, Yuki and her family joined a big party in the city center. Aliens were trying human food for the first time, making funny faces at the new tastes. In Africa, Adisa and his village had a big bonfire. They taught alien children how to dance to African music. The Last Hope team's ship landed back on Earth. Huge crowds were there to meet them. People cheered and clapped. The president walked up to them, smiling. "You've saved us all," he said. "The whole world thanks you." Carlos, Maria, and Joel looked at each other, grinning. They had done it. They had saved the world. But the story wasn't over. In fact, a new story was just beginning. In the days that followed, things started to change. The friendly aliens didn't all leave. Many wanted to stay and learn about Earth. Humans started to learn alien technology. Soon, new inventions were making life better for everyone. The alien leader kept his word. He told other alien races about Earth, but not as a target, as a place to make friends, to trade, to learn. Earth wasn't alone in the universe anymore. And that was exciting. 1 month after the big fight, the Last Hope team met again. They looked up at the stars. "What do you think is out there?" Maria asked. "I don't know," Carlos said. "But I bet it's amazing. And if anyone tries to mess with Earth again," Joe added, "they'll be sorry." They all laughed. Earth had faced its biggest challenge and won. Humans had shown how brave, smart, and kind they could be. The stars didn't look scary anymore. They looked like an invitation to explore, to learn, to make new friends. The story of humans and aliens fighting was over, but the story of humans in a big, exciting universe was just beginning. And it was going to be quite an adventure.